Welcome back to the Hamilton Public Library. This is Linda, and today we'll be making paper dahlias, just in time for spring. The first thing you're going to need is a paper circle cut out of cardstock. This is 5 inches in diameter. Next, you'll need colored paper or cardstock. Here I'm using dark and light pink cardstock to make the cones. And you will cut your paper into 3 inches by 3 inches squares. You'll need approximately 50 to 60 pieces of paper or squares. We're going to curl the 2 opposing corners of the cardstock or paper, and then you're going to add a touch of glue to one of the corners, and you're going to twist it into a cone shape. And just hold it down for a few seconds. It doesn't take long. Now, if you're using just regular paper, like photocopy paper, you can use white glue. But if you are using cardstock, you will need to use hot glue to hold it together. We're going to try another one here. Just a simple, twist. Curling the edges does help curl the cone into place. So it is a good step to do. And I just used a large popsicle stick to curl the edges of the cone. So once you've made 50 to 60 of these, you can see I've pre-made a whole bunch here. Then we can start gluing them onto our circle. So to start, we're going to place 4 cones, just like I have here, and we're going to glue them down. This will ensure that your dahlia will have kind of a symmetrical look all the way around. So you just add a bit of glue to the bottom of the cone and press it down with a pencil. You don't really want to use your fingers because I have burned myself many times, so a pencil works great. So once you have the 4 cones glued down, and I've started with the darker pink color for the bottom layer. So we'll do 2 layers of the darker pink, and then the center will be the lighter pink. Once you have all 4 glued down, then we're going to start spacing out the rest of the cones in each quarter of the circle that we have here. So now once I do the last one, we'll start with the first little section between the 2 cones. So each section can hold 3 cones. You want to space them out evenly, and you also want to make sure you don't glue the cones directly beside each other. You want to leave a little bit of space in between each cone. You'll see why when we do the next layer. So here you have them, pretty evenly spaced, and we're going to glue these down as well. And to glue down the cones, I do flatten the tips slightly just so that it's easier to add the glue, and then I press down with the pencil. So now we're going to continue just gluing these around. Each section, like I said, will take 3 cones, so evenly space them around, and we'll complete our circle. So here we have the first layer completed. Now we're going to start adding the second layer. And each cone in the second layer will be placed in between 2 cones from the first layer. And you're also going to slightly glue it slightly lower than the first layer. So you may remember this if you've watched my other video on making a book page wreath. It's kind of the same idea. So we're going to take the cones and glue them in between each cone and slightly lower. And we're going to do this all the way around the circle again. So you can see here that the first one is between those two cones, and then the second one will continue in this pattern. So this is why you would want to leave a little bit of space in between the cones on the first layer so that these will sit nicely along the circle in the second layer. So we're going to continue until we complete the circle again. So now we're going to add the light pink layer of cones. We're going to do the same thing, place the cones in between two cones from the previous layer and slightly lower. You will notice this time though, as you place your cones, you may not be able to put or glue a cone in between each set of cones on the previous layer because it is getting full at this point. So as long as you try to fit it in along the way, if you have to skip a couple, you can do that. You just want the dahlia to kind of look full. So you can see here that I'm just going along and gluing them as I can. You know, you can try to squeeze it in, but you don't want them to pop out. So just, you know, place them if you have to see how it looks like before you glue them down, and then glue them once you like the way it looks. Okay. So you can see with the one I just did that I was able to fit it between two, but there is a set that I am skipping and going to the next set. So basically with this layer, you're just trying to put them in as close as possible, whereas the first layer, you were trying to leave space in between each cone so that you could, you know, put the second layer in. As you get closer to the middle, you won't need to leave space because you want it to look full, like a dahlia. So we're gonna just continue gluing until we get to the middle. So now that we have that first layer of the light pink done, we're going to start adding the ones in the middle. And this is where it becomes a little tricky because you will not be able to get a dahlia cone in between each layer or each pair of cones from the previous layer. So now we're just going to try to fit it in so that it looks nice and full. So slowly you're going to start adding the cones. You're going to also find that you're going to run out of room. The cones will be a bit too long. So the first couple you're going to put in will fit fine. But then the next few you will have to cut down to size. So start cutting the tips a little bit and see if it fits, and then cut a little more. Otherwise, if you cut too much, you might make it too short. So here I've been able to fit 3 so far. But the next couple will need to be cut down. So you can see when the cone is placed in the middle, but it has nowhere to go. You won't be able to fold it enough to be able to fit it. That's when you know you need to start cutting it. So now it's starting to look really nice and full. And you will want to fit as many as you can so you don't see any space in the middle. You want it to, you want to not be able to see the center of the dahlia. The center should just be a bunch of cones. So you can see here, I have nowhere to put this one. It's too long. So I am going to cut it slightly so that it can fit. I'm just trying to press down as much as I can. It does get harder in the middle when you're gluing because it gets really thick. So you want to hold it down a bit longer to give it some pressure so it will stay. And this one we're gonna have to cut as well. And you will also find that you may need to fold them a bit more just to get that little flat surface to fit inside. And here we go. So hold it down. You can see that the center is disappearing, which is what you want to happen. So you'll be able to fit maybe 1 or 2 more to fill it in. And yeah, probably 1 more. We're gonna add in the middle, and then you should be done. And this last one, oh, it looks like this last one you might need to cut a bit. And actually, I think there'll be another one in the center there, so you'll be able to fit 2 more. So it's better for it to be more full than to look empty. So there's another one, and we'll fit 1 more. Now these dahlias are great to decorate for spring, or you know, if you are having a celebration, you can put this flat on a cake plate and decorate your table, is what I've done in the past. You can hang them. All you need to do is add a ribbon to the back of it, and you can hang these. I see that one has come out, so I'm trying to glue it back in, and sometimes you're going to need to stick your fingers inside the cones and hold them together because there's really nowhere else for it to go. And so like I said, you can add a ribbon to the back and hang it, you know, just don't hang it outside on your front door, but you can hang it on the inside. And you can make them really small too. You can make the size of your circle much smaller and make little mini dahlias if you'd like, for, you know, a flower backdrop, or you know, just to decorate your table or anything like that. And so there is the last one. It is nice and full and you can't see the center. I hope you enjoyed this today, and please check out the other videos I have on this channel. Thank you.